How does an accountant actually invest their money? In this video, I'm going to break down what I do to manage my finances and investments, and potentially some key takeaways that you can implement too. So hi guys, welcome back to the YouTube video. My name is Joshua Tharby, Chartered Tax Advisor, entrepreneur, investor, whatever you want to call it. Ultimately, we've got a couple of different businesses. I've done loads of investments, and in this video, I'm going to share, what my belief is, the type of investments that I've got at the moment, and there might be some great takeaways for you in terms of what you can kind of replicate in your own investment portfolio. Accountants are actually known for being quite shrewd with their money. A lot of wealthy people that I meet, even some of our clients, they're either have accountancy practices or they're trained in accounting, ex-PwC. We have quite a surprising number of actual ex-accountants on our books, and indeed these are the kind of more diligent, wealthy, organized clients that we've got, and they kind of have a different approach around money. They're a lot more strategic when it comes to their finances, and I suppose a big part of that is understanding the importance of finances. They've had that training, whether that's through employment, through the exams, around money, around finances, and of course when you know more about something, you're going to get a better result. The personal trainer who's an expert in going to the gym and nutrition, they're probably going to look better than somebody who isn't. And the same is true with accountants, is that we see a lot of accountants are actually quite wealthy. So myself, obviously, I'm an accountant, and this is my view on investments. So as an accountant myself, I'm incredibly diligent with funds, whether that's personal or in the company. Pretty much every day I'm checking all of the bank accounts that I've got, personal and business, what expenses have come out, what income's going in. I know exactly what's going on across the board in terms of all of the different bank balances. You could ask me right now, okay, Josh, what's in the real estate bank balance? I could tell you exactly, probably to the nearest 100 quid, what's in there. Same with all the different businesses, same with the Dubai accounts. All of the money I'm on top of. And that's a good thing, because actually you need to know where you are in terms of cash across the business. You need to have that focus. I often say what gets measured gets managed. And when it comes to building wealth, well, actually the key part, the predecessor effectively, the step before building wealth is having cash. You need to have a business, generate cash, put that cash to work for investments. That's how you do it. So when it comes to actually saving, investing, I've got this 50-50 rule, I call it, which is where I never spend more than 50% of what I make. It's not necessarily a target. I don't just think, we've made a decent amount of money this month, I'm going to spend a lot. It's more of it as a minimal. So what I will do is I'll always invest 50% as a minimum, never spend more than 50%. But of course, some months it might be a bit different. It might be 60-40 that gets saved and invested, 70-30, whatever it is, but it's never more than 50-50. So I'll never spend more, always hitting that 50% minimum investment level. So the first thing to say is that I've got multiple different asset classes. A lot of people, solely focus on property, solely focus on crypto, solely focus on stocks. Usually a lot of people kind of just pick one thing, and then, they're a diehard fan. So, crypto bros, they won't touch property. They won't touch stocks and shares. They're long on crypto, or you're long on property, whereas actually my investments are relatively diversified. So property investment, I've always loved property. That's why we founded JSM, Property Specialist Accountants, because property investor myself. We've got properties in Peterborough, and actually property is still a good investment. The good thing about property is it's as close to guaranteed as you can get repeat cash flow. I know exactly what's coming in each month. When we buy it, we purchase properties, you can do a refurbishment, so you can force capital appreciation. You know that if you buy a property in one area for 110,000, spend 25,000 refurbing it, it could be worth 175 at the end, because that's what the comparables say. And unless there's a massive market fluctuation, that will actually be true. And then you can force the capital appreciation, and then you can also maximize the cash flow. So you know that by the time you've done a refurb, you're going to get £1,100 a month rental income, and actually you can get a mortgage on that, and the mortgage will be £450 a month. So you know that you've got the best part of £500 a month net cash flow after you've got a managing agent in place. And then with property as well, you can also, a lot of people kind of highlight the risk. What if a tenant doesn't pay? Well, actually, you can get insurance policies against that. So with property, you can pretty much make it a relatively safe bet where all things are as guaranteed as they can be. And then, of course, you've got, the wider economy as well. Property prices are forecast to go up 20% over the next 5 years. Rising population, there's a lot of kind of macro and microeconomic data that suggests property investment is still a good investment. For me, it always has been. Looking back, we probably made about 20% a year annualized return through flips, uplift in value. The most important benefit of the rental income, the most important benefit of property investment is that regular rental income. With stocks and shares, the yields are quite low. Your sole focus really is on capital growth, whether the S&P goes up. Whereas with property, you know that you're going to get £500 a month. So if you can get 10 of them, £5,000 a month, and job done. You can be pretty sure about that. All 10 tenants aren't going to start paying at once. So you've actually, by the time you get large enough, you can build a diverse property portfolio that will support you through your income and investment objectives. If you're looking at buying UK property, especially with a trading company, well, actually it's a great way to do that is for a group structure. You have your cash flow from your trading company. It goes up as a dividend to get the money out of harm's way to the trading company. Tradeco loans it down to the property investment company, who can then build up that property portfolio, do property development, do refurbs, whatever strategy you follow. And that just gives you a great tax efficient way of investing, because you're not subject to income tax on taking the money out. You can build a lot of wealth that way with minimal taxes. But at the moment, being as busy as I am, property isn't my main focus. We've got what we've got from previous when I've been in the UK. But as anyone knows the channel, follows us on the channel, I travel a lot, not in the UK. And ultimately, building a UK property business is a hell of a lot easier when you're in the UK. You've got to view properties. You need to keep an eye on trades. Unless you have some kind of turnkey investment where you're working with a sourcer who handles everything for you. If you're not in the UK, or if you're kind of quite busy with other businesses, it's not easy to do yourself as a busy professional. So for this reason, stocks at the minute are my favourite investment. The reason for this is it's super easy to do. In terms of all you need to do is set up a general investment account. It's called someone like Hargreaves Lansdown, AJ Bell, Vanguard. Any of those platforms are fantastic. I've used them all in the past as well. Literally put money in and forget about it. That's what you need to do when it comes to stocks and shares. So I've got quite a few different ETFs and funds is what a lot of passive investors do. Of course, none of this is financial advice. I'll put that there, put it in a disclaimer as well. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just talking about what I personally do. So you could put your money in a lot of different funds. Warren Buffett says that if he didn't put his money in Berkshire Hathaway, he would just stick it in the S&P 500 and forget about it. I think over the past 50 years, the S&P's averaged about a 10.5% annualized return. So you just put your money in, forget about it, and let it grow. That's what you do. So whether you put it in S&P 500 funds or world indexes, I've got quite a few of those. I've got some money in there. My go-to fund is the All World Index. The reason for that is it's completely passive. It's diversified. I think it has about 3,800 different companies in it, all from across the world, various different sizes. So that's pretty much as diversified as you can get, because that is the entire market. And then because I'm long on technology, I've got some additional funds as well. So I've got some money in the NASDAQ tracker funds, and then semiconductor focused as well. With the growth of technology, with AI, I'm quite long on the technology sector. So actually there's some ETFs there where you can just put some money into those. That's what I do. So I think it's, without going into the detail, you've got 50, but we'll put about 50% into the general market funds, then 10% in a couple of different funds, and we just do that each and every month. The business makes some money, take out some of our living costs, whatever's left at the minute going into stocks and shares. So we just put that in accordance with our capital allocation rules. Of course, what works for you depends on your risk preference and how long it is before you actually need the money. A lot of financial advisors will probably suggest having some kind of bonds, so it's not a volatile portfolio, because the portfolio I'm in right now and what I've just discussed is a very volatile portfolio. You've got a lot of tech exposure there, massive swings, and the thing there is that if you are nearing retirement age or even kind of 5 or 10 years away, you don't want to be exposed to those risky areas. You want a defensive portfolio so that if you need to start accessing that money before the market's recovered, you're not selling at a loss, or you're kind of basically crystallizing a loss. Whereas for me, I know for a fact that I won't need any of this money for God knows when I actually need this money. It could be 30, 40, 50 years time. I might never actually need it, because of course we've got businesses, we've got income and everything else. So if you are looking at having the money soon, you probably want more bonds in there. But for me, I'm all about the risk. I'm all about the upside, and that's exactly what my stock portfolio does. And then we've got everybody's favorite or everybody's least favorite, crypto. So here's just a little bit about my personal experience with crypto. So I've not been in crypto too long. I didn't put too much in there, a modest amount. I think about £50,000. Probably about just over a year ago now. Of course, as soon as I put the money in, it went up loads. It went up about 20-30%. Didn't take money. Thought there was more. Drops 30-40%. And ultimately, the main thing I know about crypto is it is incredibly volatile. One day you could be up 20%, the next day you could be down 50%, and it really does go like that, like nothing you'll ever see before. So if you are looking at investing in crypto, do make sure you know it is a completely volatile asset. My experience on crypto is I've sold some when it's up. I did have a large amount in there. I've now got a much smaller amount because I didn't actually like the risk of it going up and down all the time. I wanted something a bit more stable and that ultimately had long-term value. And that's the kind of thing with crypto v stocks and shares. With stocks and shares, you are buying shares in actual companies that have actual people, actual profits, actual customers, actual value, long-term value. You know, when you're buying shares in the S&P 500, actually 8% of that goes to Microsoft, or like 6% goes to Nvidia and Apple. You know that you're buying shares in actual companies that do things in the world. Whereas with stocks and with crypto, it's just a gamble. You don't know whether it's going to go up or down, or if it's all about the market. So when it does go down, you don't want to keep adding more money in. But when it comes to stocks and shares, actually when it does go down, because you've got a long-term belief in the company and the market, you can just add more money in, dollar cost average, and it's a great win. So back to the original point on crypto. At the minute, I think because of the war in Iran and Israel and everything else that's going on, I'm actually down about 20%. I think we've got about 20 or 30,000 in there. But I'm definitely not putting any more money into crypto. Stocks and shares are the future. In the crypto portfolio at the minute, we've got a bit of Bitcoin, Sui, Solana. A couple of weeks ago, it was up about 30%. So it has dropped massively at the time of recording. A few meme coins as well. But ultimately, crypto is a gamble and not something I'll be investing in the long run. I might probably let my money go in, let it sit there, get 20% up if we can get that, and then get out. Put the money into real investments such as property and stocks. So there we have it, guys. That's how an accountant invests their money. Any key takeaways from this? Anything that you're going to do differently, or any questions? Do drop them in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Do remember to smash that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Until next week.